Welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast, presented by Bienville Bites Food Tour. The Port City Plate Podcast, serving up the food, history, and people of Mobile, Alabama, for people who love the Port City. I'm your host, Chris Andrews, and welcome to a bonus episode of the Port City Plate Podcast. I'm sitting in with Wade Price, founder of Slurp Society in Mobile, who's about to open up their brand new location, 609 Dauphin Street. That's right beside Wenzel's Oyster House, and I know everybody knows where that location is, but Slurp Society is going to be occupying the spot where 5 used to be located, and so I'm excited to talk about the new location, what we can expect, from the new and improved Slurp Society. Wade's been on the podcast with me before, so that's why this is a bonus episode. So if you've listened, if you haven't listened to the first interview, make sure you scroll down to the show notes. I've got a link there where you can listen to his story from his journey from starting Slurp Society, and it's really since that episode has aired. I mean, I can't count how many times we've had guests on this podcast talk about Slurp Society being one of the places that they go and eat. So, I mean, if you want to eat where the people in the food and drink industry in Mobile eat, Slurp Society's got to be at the top of your list. For sure. So, Wade, welcome back to the Port City Plate Podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man, excited about it. So, well, I guess first of all, give us an update on what's changed since the last time you've been on the podcast. That was January of 2023. Now we're in July of 2024. So, what's new?
Yeah, so much has changed. Yeah, I mean, the biggest obviously is the move. We moved from 69 St. Michael to former 5 Bar spot now. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest one. That was always our biggest struggle over at the old location, was just space, and that building just had a lot of issues in general. So, I mean, this new one, it's, we're really pumped to get into it. We just, more room to stretch our wings out and get a little bit busier, more in the action of downtown, which we're super excited about because, as you know, we were very much off the beaten path of where everybody likes to be down here. So, I don't know, we're excited to kind of play around with the big dogs out here now. It's gonna be a good time.
I know it. You could have, I think I admire what you're doing because, I mean, you could have stayed there at 69 St. Michael, and I'm sure you had low overhead, and you had probably had you could have a smaller staff, a smaller restaurant operation, but you want to take it and, like I said, play with the big dogs on Dauphin Street. So, what's going on in your mind behind that?
Well, I mean, that space, I really liked how small it was. It was very in the open kitchen, and it had a lot of things I really dug just because it was very ramen shop to me, right?
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, we had so many issues with just if anything was happening downtown, everybody got pulled away from us. Mardi Gras,
Good point.
Mardi Gras, when it was, a time where we should get our butts kicked. It's everybody was gone down here. You know? So it just, plus we just had other issues with the building, just constant problems with the AC and everything else. So it was with this new one. We've been planning on moving for a while. We looked at a lot of different places, and 5 Bar, I heard about it shutting down before they announced it and before it came on the market, which is funny because that's how I got the one on St. Michael too, right? The restaurant people talk. So once I knew that was becoming available, it seemed like the perfect spot.
Right.
I mean, it just has the foot traffic there is crazy. We're right next to Wenzel's, which is an institution down here. So I mean, it's there's parts of it that sure could be a little scary. It's so much bigger than the other spot. The other spot we had 46 seats. And like you said, overhead was pretty small. This one, overhead's much bigger. Staff's going to be bigger. I mean, we're more than doubling the amount of seats we're going to have. There's a lot to it that's going to be, I think a learning curve at first, but we're still, we've been open for a year and a half now. We have a good reputation for our food and our service and all that, so none of that's going to change.
Yeah,
it's still going to be like what you have come to expect with Slurp Society.
Yeah.
Just in a bigger, badder environment, you know?
Yeah, so to make up for that, like I said, that additional cost that you're going to have, like what are you going to be doing to the menu? Like what's going to be different than from the old location? Are you going to be doing anything different on the menu?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit bigger. I mean, I'm not a fan personally of giant menus.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you have to like flip pages and pages through to like find something, you know? It's like, oh, this place makes pizza too. Whoa, you know, like I'm not really the biggest fan of that. So, I mean, our menu is always going to be a little bit on like the smaller side, but I mean, with this one, you know, we'll have definitely more options. You know, we'll have more types of ramen, more types of noodles. We'll have some more small plate selections, which is going to be fun. We're really excited about that. You know, we'll do more like over there. We never really could do specials because we literally had a 2-door reach-in cooler for all of our food, so we just didn't have the space to hold anything. But like with this place, you know, we can, you know, really stretch like our creativity a little bit and have more fun and do more things. And you know, we'll probably have some more entree options for dinner, lunch. You know, we're playing around with maybe having like a little bit of a different lunch menu than a dinner menu. You know, and then like I very much believe in the whole model of, you know, walking before you run, right? So at first, you know, it's probably going to be pretty similar, but as we get our feet underneath us, we'll add on more things, like bring our happy hour back that we had, but do it a little bit differently, you know, have a little more fun with it. And you know, that'll translate over to the food offerings that we have. But yeah, we're pumped. I mean, we have tons of a lot of ideas that we're trying to pare down right now for the new menu. We're excited. The biggest thing is we got our hands like on a wood burning grill, and like for me, you know, cooking over like wood and like charcoal is very Japanese. You know, if you're in Japan, you go to like a yakitori place and they're cooking over like bikoton, like charcoal, like that's, you know, that smell and that flavor is just like kind of ingrained in that type of cuisine to me. So being able to do that with, you know, a lot of like our proteins and vegetables and stuff like that, and impart that flavor is, I think, going to take our food definitely up a notch. Yeah, for sure.
I know. I mean, you're one of the most creative guys that we got in Mobile when it comes to, you know, being a chef and in the kitchen. So that's what I'm probably most excited about for y'all is that, you know, you're going to get to, like you mentioned, you kind of spread your wings a little bit more, do a little more creative stuff in the kitchen, since you're going to have a larger operation back there to be able to do that. So that's going to be really cool. What about cocktails? I mean, I know that you're going to have there was the old bar that was kind of there in the middle of the restaurant previously. Are y'all going to do some cool stuff with cocktails there?
Yeah, for sure. Like our bar menu will also expand. You know, we have like a great bar manager, Clark Wortham, who's like kind of been the lead of that this whole time. You know, me and him definitely go back and forth about drinks constantly, and he has a ton of really cool ideas. You know, we'll have more of a focus like on like highballs is going to be a big part of our menu. Boilermakers is another one, because, you know, if you think about, you know, Japanese spots, like, you know, sake bomb is like the first thing that kind of, an old school sake bomb is the first thing that pops into your head, right? So, but, you know, we want to take that and, you know, kind of be more creative with that kind of concept of Boilermakers, you know, just dropping a shot in a beer or whatever, you know. So those are some things that we're going to focus on with this new place. Hopefully be able to get our hands on more whiskeys and beers and sakes. You know, one thing we're going to try to bring to downtown Mobile that I don't really see anyone else doing is like a sake by the glass program. Kind of treat it like wine, which is going to be super exciting. And you know, and maybe a sake club at some point is another thing we've been kind of talking about. But, you know, it's like you said with the creativities, you know, we're going to try to bring that same focus and excitement to like our bar program as well. We're not super interested in just throwing out old fashions and all day long. It's as delicious as old fashions are, you know.
I think, I guess one of the biggest things I'm probably most excited about the new location is going to be the parking, right? I mean, that's going to change the entire game for you.
Yeah, because, you know, we had maybe one parking spot out front, you know, at the old one. This one, I mean, we have, you know, Bob over at Winsel's has been nice enough to let us use the parking lot across the street, like 5 and El Papi used to. So we'll have that, you know, street parking in this area is, most of it's free. So I mean, we have infinite more parking than we did at the
Yeah.
old place. It's gonna be way easier for people to. We don't have to walk a crazy distance to get to us,
Right.
which is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you do get the best of both worlds a little bit. You're going to get people that are going to walk down from the other end of Dauphin, but most people are coming by vehicle and by car.
Yeah, it's downtown, So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be times where people are going to have to walk, when parking lots are full. But I mean, comparatively to 4 parking spots out front at the old one, I mean, it's a game changer for sure.
Yeah. Talk about some of the challenges with that building. I know, I think the first time I walked about the shop and you were there, the restaurant. You're talking about when 5 was there, they had like 1 million chandeliers in the ceiling. Like, what are some things y'all had to overcome for the building?
I feel like air conditioning problems follows us for some reason. I don't know what we did to, and if we cut off like a air conditioning tech in traffic or something. Like, I don't know what happened, but we always have problems with that. I mean, first week we were in there, like a compressor blew, and
Of course.
dealing with that. And I mean, with 5, like you said, they had 1,000 chandeliers. There's more power than the space station in that ceiling, and only half of it works for some reason. So it's like electricians trying to make sense of that up there has been crazy. Besides that, I mean, 5, the people who own 5 took pretty good care of it. So I mean, it wasn't super crazy. I mean, whenever you take over a restaurant, you're going to have to scrub some grease off walls, which, is par for the course. But, I mean, comparatively to, like, the old building, I mean, this building's been pretty, like, easy repair-wise.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you had a good electrician for sure.
Oh, yeah. I've talked to so many of them. Because, electricians and plumbers, like, they show up, like, half the time. So it's like you have to call so many of them to get one to show up.
Right.
So... talk to so many guys.
Give our listeners an idea of the layout of the building. So you walk in, and y'all also have the building that was, or the space next to it was the private event space. That room next door as well. So kind of like give a visual of the layout of the building.
So I mean, if you ate at 5 before, I mean, we're still using that area as like the main dining room, right? So, we have that. We'll have about 70 seats probably in that space. We completely renovated the bar. Like, it looks incredible. Like, they did a great job with that. But I mean, we're gonna have a ton of like little cool like design things in there that we've been working on that we're super excited about for that space. But the space next door that we got, our plan with that is we're calling it Little Dragon. We're trying to give it its own little like identity, right? And the big thing we want to do is, late night dinner, we'll be doing out of there. Eventually we're probably going to stay open around the same time like Post stays open on Friday and Saturday nights. That's not going to be at the Jump, but we're definitely going to add that on. And then we're also, the big thing is we want to book that space out for events. So, things like your tour, we can put them over there, or like, Mardi Gras parties, Christmas parties, like things like that where we can fit like 30, 40 people in that space easy. More than that, honestly.
Yeah.
But like, be able to book that out would be like a really nice moneymaker for us. But I think, we've definitely put a lot of work on the design over there just to make it somewhere where people walk in, they're like, oh, I want to book another party.
Yeah. I see people online asking all the time about private rooms and things like that for restaurants. So I think you're going to stay pretty busy with that.
Yeah, we're excited about that. With this one, we wanted to. I think the trick with restaurants is adding revenue streams, right? So like you can't really depend with your profit margin being so thin. You can't really depend on just selling food, and slinging cocktails. Like you need other things, that's why restaurants add on like the delivery and et cetera. So like adding things on like late night and private events and things like that will hopefully, make me more money, but make my staff more money, which I'm always trying to figure out ways to do that.
Definitely. So. Yep. But you mentioned the Bienville Bites tours, and man, I know we've had great feedback from our tour groups that have gone in there and had the Japanese fried chicken and some of the cool cocktails that y'all have done. So I'm really excited to get back.
Oh yeah, we're pumped.
Back.
I mean, Bienville Bites has always been super good to us. I mean, we were doing, I feel like a couple a week, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 a week at our height. So with this one being right near you guys and having more space to put more people, I think
for sure. The
it's gonna be a
space,
good time.
I know when you mentioned 40 seats at the old location, and if a group of 12 or so come in, that's cool.
Almost.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think the biggest one you ever gave us, I think, was like 25 or something like that, and it was almost the whole restaurant.
Yeah.
So it's this one. We have, just in the main dining room, we'll have like right at 70 seats. In Little Dragon, we'll have, probably 50. We're more than doubling the amount of people that we could fit in the old one, which is awesome. So, with the tours, it's going to be great.
What's your projected opening date?
Hopefully the 1st of July.
Okay.
Is the plan. Like, we're still waiting on some city stuff, but that's just par for the course.
Yep.
So hopefully next week we can finalize a lot of that. And then from there, we're still looking for staff, so front of the house is pretty good. We're still looking for line cooks, like for the kitchen, but training will start, and we'll be able to knock that out hopefully in a week, and do a soft opening.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Any kind of soft opening or any kind of celebration or special event you're thinking about?
Yeah, we'll do like a friends and family thing, where for sure. I think that's super important because, like I said at the beginning, I have the entire crew that we had at Slurp.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm not super worried about executing things like service-wise and food-wise. We're going to have some new people that we want to train, but, it's still a new environment, right?
Yeah.
So, it's going to be even people who've been with us since day one, are probably going to make mistakes in a new space. So doing that friends and family is going to be super important just to and we've also been closed now for like a month.
Right.
So it's, we got to knock some rust off.
Yeah. How'd you keep your staff with you?
I try, I think the biggest thing is just, treating them with respect, and then also just realizing that, life happens. So, maybe I think I've given some people too many chances, but I try to, I can't, I'm not going to punish people for a kid getting sick.
Right.
Not being able to come to work, and I've worked at a ton of places where, you're expected to, who cares about your kid? You have to be here.
Yeah.
Right. So, I try to, take care of them as much as possible. And, I think some people can take advantage of that. But the people that are still with us, don't, we respect each other, and we, they're willing to go the extra mile, I think, for me, because I've gone the extra mile for them.
Right.
Right. And,